If you're listening, you're a real fan. Strap in for this one. It's going to get messy.
Ball away under pressure, but it's picked up by Archer again. He tries to crash through the pack. He does. He got through Maxwell, and he has a flying shot at the goals. And that is a magnificent Glenn Archer goal. 2 in a minute to the man who the shin bone was injured.
I guess it's time to chat about it. Welcome back to Further North, everybody. Taking some time. I'm recording this Saturday afternoon after the horrific display that we put on Good Friday. Now, I haven't really written many notes about this one. I was sitting in the stadium and there's not enough storage on my phone to write down the amount of negativity that I wanted to write down. So I thought, instead of just ranting and telling you guys everything we're doing wrong, I'm going to just sit down. It's just me today. I was going to have Marnie on, but it's just not that sort of podcast. This one's going to be a bit shorter. We're just going to talk about my thoughts. We'll go over some stats and we'll try and be honest. We're going to try and be super raw and super honest about where this club is at because, and I've felt like it for a while, but it's hard to be overly negative on the internet, I guess, because then people always come back at you. But, you know, we all want this club to be good. We know the talent we've got, but there's some massive, massive questions to ask now. And we're gonna try and ask them today, to be honest. Now, if you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. And I want your thoughts down below on all these points, okay? We know how bad we are. And I guess let's dive in. Thank you to everyone tuning into this as well, because I know it's hard. But a lot of people, even before the game, came up and said hello and said, you know, it's weekly therapy for them. I wish it wasn't weekly therapy, but if that's what it has to be, that's what it will be. We also got a bunch of messages telling me to take a week off. Is the podcast on the ropes and things like that? I've had so many messages, so if I haven't got back to everyone, I do apologize. I needed to switch off for a little bit and just not dive into that negativity. So let's get into it, I guess. North Melbourne lose by 82 points on Good Friday to Carlton. We gave up 153 points to a team that everyone considers well below par, and they have been. But jokingly through the week, I said to people, if there's one team that can play them back into form, just like we did to Hawthorn and many, many other teams, it can be us. We're going to play them back into form. And we did. We scored 71 points. It was a bit of a shootout. That is, I mean, that's not a good score at all, but, you know, we looked like we scored about 30 points, to be honest. And leading into this one, if you guys listen to the preview, I definitely felt like we could compete. I definitely felt like we could win, but I never really believe personally, and I haven't done for a while. I think on the exterior, I want to come across more positive than maybe I feel inside. And I think a lot of supporters are like that. And I think an important thing to mention in this podcast today is people will have different views. Looking at some of the messages I've got and some of the social media posts, some people are like, never stop your undying love for the club. And I completely get that. And I think that's a great way to do it. But also, if that's your view, I don't think now is the time to push against anyone who's wavering a little bit in their support. Because I'll always be a North Melbourne fan, but I don't really want to go anymore. And I will, because I always do. But I haven't enjoyed going to that stadium and watching that club for years. Now, have there been moments? Absolutely. The Helmet Day was fantastic. The D's game this year was fantastic. Richmond and Gold Coast, they were wins last year. They weren't super sexy, but hey, we went there for them. Outside of that, it has been so grim for us fans. And shout out to everyone that turned up. Shout out to everybody who pays for their membership. Shout out to everyone who bought merch and does anything for that club, because they do not deserve it. They do not deserve your money, your undying support all the time. And that's harsh. But to be honest, If people don't want to turn up and people don't want to pay memberships, I don't blame any single one of you, because that's how I'm feeling. The amount of money that we've all given this club for, 7, 8 years now, and we get that still. It's just absolutely not good enough. And yeah, I just think if people want to take a step back and find some other priorities in their life, don't be afraid to do that. I definitely have tried to do that a little bit. It's really hard balance. If you want me to be super, super honest at the moment, the podcast, I love doing this and I love connecting with you guys. And the fact that people listen every week is so, so good. And I want to be here every week for you guys, because I don't want the club to be bad and me take a step back and leave you guys without the outlet, or, leave you without something that a lot of people have said are in their lives every week, And if this is that weekly therapy for people, I want to be there for it. But this is harder and harder to do every single week, Even today on the Saturday, I was going to do this 10 a.m. and it's 3 p.m. now. And I'm like, ugh, I've got to do it. This is my day off, And just on a personal note, I work 50 hours a week at the barbershop, and I devote so much of my time to doing this for not much at all. And I will always want to do it, and I will keep doing it. But does the club deserve this effort? Does the club deserve me using 3 nights of my week after working that many hours to this? For you guys, 100%. And for the fans, and for me saying thank you to everyone for listening. And I can't believe that I've got a platform where people listen to me. That's awesome. But does the club deserve this level of effort? And absolutely at the moment, no. Absolutely not. All right, let's get into the game. Let's talk about it. That's enough ranting. I needed to vent that. Thank you for listening. 14-45 at quarter time. Absolutely pathetic first quarter. Gutless, spineless, and a bunch of players that just don't seem to be that interested. And a coach that I am strongly questioning. And I've been a big, big Clarko backer. I've been a massive advocate for Clarkson. And I do believe off the field, he is the best guy for this football club. But on the field, doesn't seem to be that way. The lack of change in our approach to entering the forward 50, the lack of tackle pressure, the lack of defensive ability doesn't change. Nothing changes. We didn't swing Chom forward. We didn't mix the Magnus around. Riley Hardiman gets dropped for no reason, and guys like Tucker are still there. And there's going to be some player blaming in this episode. And I love the players, and I want them to do so well, but I have to talk about it. Because you can't, if I was that bad at my job, I would get fired, and we make 10% of their wages. You know what I mean? And I know that's a silly way to look at it. They've worked so hard. They've made their careers. But if you want a real working class man perspective, I go to work 50 hours a week and make 10% of their wage. And if I did half as bad as they've been playing, I wouldn't have a job. So the first quarter was absolutely pathetic. Our midfield is the most overrated superstar potential midfield ever. Ever. I think we won 1 clearance in the first quarter, or maybe we got a couple late, but I know 90% of the way through that first quarter, I think we had 1 center clearance, which they were just walking it out. Paul Curtis kicks a goal in this quarter, one of the only shining lights on the day, and we will get to the 2 positives from the entire game. He kicked 2 of his goals in the first quarter. Larky gets an opportunity to put us in front and is lackadaisical with it. Just goes back and goes, I'll just snap this. I'll just knock this one through from 20 out and hits the post. Go back and do your routine. It's just insane. And then the onslaught from Carlton, 5 goals in the second half of the quarter unanswered to blow this thing out. We nearly gave up 50 points in a quarter. And it's all on the midfield we don't tackle and we don't win clearances. There's your 2 most important things. So it was ridiculous. Now, the second quarter was actually kind of a little bit of a fight back. And when I say that, we were still 20 points down at halftime. But 39 points at halftime is rubbish. We did fight back. We did nullify the Blues. And at halftime, as much as the positive side of the North Melbourne fandom was saying, Carlton's second halves are bad, so we can do this, doesn't mean that we could do it. And I was like, well, I've seen the way we've played. North Melbourne and that team where in the first half, they're not going to come out and change it in the second half. I know it happened against the D's, but we've got to let go of this Demons game. That doesn't matter anymore. Everything positive we did in that Melbourne game doesn't matter. So let it go. Every other game is what we need to be focusing on because they're the problems. Did I think we were going to come back? Absolutely not. Because I could see how sloppy we were with the ball. I could see how we still can't get it out of our back 50. Chom switching the ball and letting other players mark it. We are the slowest team to switch. And I've said this for so long. We look to switch and at a snail's pace. And by the time we get it to the other back pocket, they're set up already. No dash, no run. And the time people lead in the pockets, we miss the kicks. I just can't believe how bad at the basic football skills these guys are that get paid to do this every single day. Their job is to be good at this, and they're not good at it. They can't kick. We can't handball. The amount of hospital handballs in transitions that just sold our team and completely cut the momentum, handballing it to the bloke that someone's already lining up to tackle and missing the easy option is pathetic. And I want to be really, really honest with you guys. And I know some people might hate this, but I'm at my wit's end a little bit here. I left at the start of the fourth. I left the ground because honestly, they're not worth my time and they're not worth my effort and my emotional stress and composure. We kicked a couple at the start, but I was so angry. I've never been so angry at a football game my entire life. I felt more depressed, but I was so, so angry. And I left, and I don't regret it, to be honest, because the club doesn't deserve our support at the moment. And I know some fans will hate that, and I do apologize to those fans that will always just be 100% die for the club. And I'm a diehard. I turn up every week doing this pod. I go to nearly every home game. And, I feel like it's okay that I bailed because they just don't deserve what I want to bring to it. Do you know what I mean? And to be honest, I haven't watched it back because I can't. I can't watch it back. I don't want to watch it back. And I don't have any interest in watching it back, to be honest. I was on the train just checking the score and it just kept blowing out. And you know what? We kicked 4 goals, 1 in this quarter, which was one of our best quarters. And we let them kick 9 goals, 3. Just absolutely pathetic. So there's your little game summary. I haven't watched Clarkson's press conference yet. I definitely should have, but I've really been struggling for motivation to do it this week. So please give me a pass on that. I'm sorry. But I know, and one of the reasons why I don't want to watch it or I haven't watched it yet, because I know what we're going to get. We're going to get the same press conference answers that we always get. Excuses. We're young. The other team played really well. Our second quarter was really good. No one cares. No one cares about that. Let's go to some different lines of the team. Where do we start? Let's start with the back line. Now, let's talk about, let's mention individual players, right? Let's mention some individual players. So I've got my phone here. I'm sorry. I apologize for looking down a little bit. It's much easier to navigate than the AFL website. I'll get that up here anyway. Anyway, so Griffin Logue. Now, when Toby Pink got dropped for Griffin Logue, I didn't like it because I don't feel like Griffin Logue earned his spot. And he definitely hasn't earned his spot and shown that is justified over the last 2 games. I don't think he laid a tackle. And we got some stats from a listener called Mark Franklin. So, Mark, thank you for your stats you've provided me and posting, in all the North Melbourne groups. Griffin Logue didn't lay a tackle for the day. And the players that didn't lay a tackle, Fisher, Logue, O'Sullivan, and Zerha, did not lay a tackle for the entire day. I'll have a look at the tackle stats here because, yes, we're concentrating on the defense, but I think this is a good point. Tackles. There was only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players over 2 tackles for this game. Fisher, Logue, O'Sullivan, Zerha didn't lay a tackle. Luke Parker, 1 tackle. Wardlaw, 1 tackle. Not giving Wardlaw a roast in this game because we're going to get onto him in the second. One of the only shining lights from this game. Dylan Stevens, 1 tackle. Darcy Tucker, 1 tackle. McKercher, 1 tackle. Chom, 1 tackle. Core, 1 tackle. Dersma, 2 tackles. Curtis, 2 tackles. Larkey, McDonald, 2 tackles. So if you watched the game, and I'm sorry if you did, we cannot lay a tackle anywhere. The amount of tackles that are broken, the lack of pressure, which is meant to be our club's, thing. That's meant to be our thing. The Shinboner spirit is never say die, tackle and be a tough team, be physical and make the team not want to play you. Even if you're not a great team, you still put the effort in. And it just does not happen with this group of players. Aiden Core, I think he fought all day. Free kick Kerner was back and free kick Carlton was back. Some of the free kicks are absolutely pathetic. The umpires are a joke. I know this isn't the reason we lost the game, but honestly, it probably was a massive reason why it was that far out. I reckon the umpires gifted them about 40 points. I know that any opposition fan listening to this is just going to laugh and be like, oh, where. But, if you watch the game, the amount of soft free kicks Aiden Core what more can you do? In the modern AFL, not just our players, but the modern AFL, you can't defend. You can't trail your man anymore because if you are close enough, you might nudge their back, or if you try to spoil and you hit them over the shoulder, it's high now. There is no chance for defenders. So I do give Aiden Core a little bit of a pass. But Kerno did get off the leash a lot. So you look, am I saying tick Aiden Core game? Maybe not, but I don't think he was that bad. Charlie Comben had the most intercepts for us once again, but I really wish we swung him forward. That's on Clarkson though. But the lack of confidence he shows in his kicking ability, he did a switch where it just put the player under so much pressure. The ball was kicked so high and floated up in the air and just gave the attacking player time to run and contest our player. And I can't remember which player he switched it to, but you could see it from a mile away. So I don't know. I'm a bit mixed on Chom's game. Most intercepts, and I think he actually did quite well one-on-one to bully his opponent and get an intercept or bring it to ground, but absolutely not. Luke McDonald, honestly, don't know a single thing he did for the whole day. 13 touches, 2 tackles, 4 marks, I think. So, yeah, it was just there. Caleb Daniel. I've been a Caleb Daniel defender, and I still don't think he's been quite as bad as people think. I think because our expectation is high of him. But he's come into this club to improve our defensive transition, and it hasn't improved. So you've got to put that on him a little bit. He tries, 83%, 83% disposal efficiency. So not horrendous, 24 touches, 15 kicks. Yeah, not horrendous, but is he adding enough value for what we thought it would be? Maybe not. I mean, he got our most rebound 50s with 5. He's getting the numbers and he's almost there with it, but it's not coming off. But I also kind of blame everyone else around him for not presenting, not being good enough. Darcy Tucker, I mean, it's the same every week, isn't it, with Darcy Tucker? Never the worst player on the ground, but doesn't really add much. 1 rebound, 50 for the game, which don't really understand why he's there. Let's have a look at his disposals and some stats for the game. So Tucker, 15 touches, 4 kicks, 11 handballs. Yeah, 1 mark. Yeah, didn't really do anything at all. So I don't know. Was it a good idea to drop Hardiman? I'd be very questionable. Zach Fisher, unfortunately, out with a hamstring. I actually think he was lively. I think he was trying to run us off half back, and I think he broke the game open a couple of times where he'd receive a 1-2 and get away, and he hit a couple of kicks, and I kind of think we missed him coming off the half back line. I know he's a scapegoat for a lot of people, but please be a little bit less. This is the guy that we've been calling a scapegoat for a year, and just try and think about like what you saw on the day. Don't forget about everything else. Just think about what you saw on the day. And unless I'm completely wrong here, which I don't believe I am, I think last week and this week he showed a lot of promise trying to run that thing off half back. So he should be in for Tucker out. Obviously his hamstring's gone now, so who knows how many weeks he'll be out. But, you know, I actually didn't mind the start of Zach Fisher's game. O'Sullivan, he's okay. I mean, look, first-year player, can't go too hard on him. He definitely tries his best. He sort of got brought down to the rest of the teams or the rest of the backlines level. So I don't know. I'm not going to go into O'Sullivan at all. First-year player, showing some promise. Hasn't really been a sniff of a rising star nom, though, and that's something I would like to see from him. The only guy I guess you could chuck in with the defenders is maybe Colby, but he was definitely playing up the ground a lot more. He was coming off half forward a lot. I actually didn't mind when he got the ball. I think he tried to break the game open a lot. His kicking's letting him down a little bit, though, for McKercher. 75% disposal efficiency, 16 touches. I mean, that's just a victim of the ball not being in the forward half, though, isn't it? I didn't think he was horrendous. When we did have opportunity to break, he broke, and I think he did that well. Is it good enough? No, but the whole team wasn't. So I think he was one of in the top half of our performers for that game anyway. So I'm not going to go in too hard on Colby. I think he started really, really lively in the first, and the team dropped off, and those sort of players can't really do much when the team is so pathetic. So yeah, that's our defense. Our defense as a whole, we can't give Carlton 153 points. Like, it's just so disorganized. And we'll come to the midfield and their defensive effort in a second. But that we just cannot defend. Every time the ball hits the ground, we have no one there to lay a tackle. The amount of times the ball hit the ground and Carlton would just find little pockets of space. I don't know how many goals they ended up kicking from a throw-in in the back pocket or something, and our players just don't lay the tackle or aren't filling the little hole of space that the Blues could potentially run into. It just seems like there's no ground awareness from our defenders. Now, Jackson Archer would help that a lot, but that's where Luke McDonald did step up in the first couple of games after Archer was out. That's where Tucker needs to be better. Daniel, he's small, but we've got to put more pressure on. Daniel tries to tackle. You know, I know it's not his thing. It's not his fault. He's that size and he offers other things, but the pressure's not good enough. It's just not good enough by those guys. Our defenses are, without using some colourful language, an absolute shambles. An absolute shambles. We need some changes down there. Griffin Logue needs to be dropped. I think we need to swing Chom forward now. I haven't been a big component of that, but what choice do we have? We need something else. So I'd be swinging Chom forward. I'd be bringing in Dawson, Whitlock when he's back, and let's just get some of the younger, taller guys down there that can start doing something. I think Toby Pink probably deserves a run as well, because our defense hasn't looked better all season than when he was in our defense. And he's the greatest player ever. I'm not saying that, but he added something that Griffin Logue's not. Toby Pink added physicality. His size is good. He competed one-on-one. He knows he's got to play, well to stay in this team. Griffin Logue is cruising. So I would be bringing in Pink or Will Dawson. Drop Logue, go Core, Will Dawson and Pink, push Comben forward. And there's your 3 key defenders. Port Adelaide next week, who cares? We're getting done by 50 plus. So the defense, the worst thing on the park.
Hey Josh, hey Marnie, Jen here. What a disgraceful performance that was. Us North fans deserve a medal having to go watch that every week. Enough is enough. Come on, man. We deserve better than that. My God.
Can sit there and mention how poor the umpiring was, but at the end of the day, we've got no fucking backbone in our club, so what do we expect?
Stevens, Sheasel, McKercher, LDU, Zerha and Wardlaw had 5+ turnovers. I don't know how much you can hold Wardlaw to that account, but there's something glaring going on there.
I've been a member since 1993 and a roofer life since 2008. I don't think I can continue doing this anymore. I pay $90 a month for my membership, and I only get to go to about 4 or 5 games a year just to see that sort of effort. I don't think I can do this anymore.
They finally broke me. I can't see it turning anymore. We can't and shouldn't fire Clarkson. That would just put us back to square one. But until we start defending the whole ground, nothing is going to change. Clarkson is arguably the GOAT of coaches, but I do believe he needs to change. I don't buy it anymore that we are heading in the right direction. Actions speak louder than words, and our past results are screaming. Positivity can only get you so far, and we have reached the limit.
It's Liam from Instagram. Speaking, that was effing disappointing because of we are getting smashed again. I hope I can get into this podcast and go north map.
Howdy to the host of Further North podcast and obviously all the listeners. First I'm calling in from essentially start to finish. Even in the first quarter, we didn't take our opportunities. Is kind of like our best players that we've always been able to rely on, like Larky and all that. When he missed that easy set shot after like such a good lead up to it, like what's the team meant to do when the best players aren't stepping up? It was kind of like Wardlaw versus Carlton.
But hey, the midfield can rival it because the midfield, we're going to call out some names here that, have I been nervous to call out a couple of these guys? Yeah, because of the backlash and that sort of stuff. And most of you guys support me, but, I don't enjoy getting the negativity. We're going to talk about a lot of other players, but let me talk about Tom Powell for a second, because I know this is the one that I never said anything really that negative about. I just said I think he lacks a bit of polish. But it goes deeper than that now. Tom Powell's had one good game this season. Now, he has been so anonymous in at least half the games this year. For someone who in the preseason, and I got very hyped on as well, Tom Powell is just kind of LDU, but not quite as explosive. And LDU was pathetic on the day as well. So we're going to get to him in a second. But Tom Powell hasn't made a step at AFL level at all this year. Not at all. He's not really offering anything different to the other midfielders. And he got his lowest number of centre bounce attendances, on the weekend. Let me try and find the numbers here. 11. He only got 11. 11 centre bounce attendances with 2 clearances. It's just not good enough, and he needs to step up. For someone who's been in the league, 5 years now, maybe 6, it's just nowhere near good enough, and we need to start. He's a favourite of the fan bases. I understand that, and I understand that's why a lot of people came back at me when I said he lacks end product and he lacks a bit of polish. But I can't not talk about it anymore. I mean, 19 of the most anonymous touches you'll see, only 5 kicks, 14 handballs. Was he the worst on the day? No. But he's got to start stepping up. Speaking of stepping up, Luke Davies-Uniacke. I love that he signed a deal, but that is one of the worst performances I've seen from Luke. Just so bad. 25 of the most dead touches you'll ever see. 68%. disposal efficiency. He was butchering everything. He had 2 or 3 kicks that he tried to switch into the middle and they got intercepted straight away. This is our number one paid player. This is our superstar now. And did he step up? Absolutely not. Let's have a look at how many clearances he got for the day. You know what? I'm going to read out Mark's clearance stats because he threw out some clearance numbers and then we're going to get on to some other guys. Thank you for this as well, Mark. CBAs to clearance tally, okay? So centre bounce attendances. Jerry had 33, 3 clearances. LDU had 32, 4 clearances. Parker 22 with 6. Wardlaw 19 with 5 clearances. Sheasel 17 with 6 clearances. Simpkin 13 with 6 clearances. And Powell 11 with 2 clearances. And then he says, if Sherry and LDU had the worst CBA to clearance ratios, why didn't we mix it up some more? That's a great question, Mark. Almost like we've been saying that. Why isn't Colby getting any centre bounce attendances? I don't care that he's a lighter frame. He played midfield all through his juniors and he made his name as a midfielder playing in the centre. Play him there. Give O'Sullivan. He's a midfielder too. Why isn't O'Sullivan getting a crack? Throw a Zerha in there who didn't make an impact yesterday. Throw a Zerha in there. We're sticking with the same 4 or 5 guys that don't offer anything different. LDU, Powell, Simpkin, and Luke Parker don't really offer much different from each other. Simpkin and Luke Parker are you in and under players. But Simpkin, LDU, and Powell can't kick and can't dispose of the ball. They're all really poor disposal. I just don't get it. They're like Simpkin, turnovers again. I know me and Chief went at it last week, but it just proves what I was saying more, the turnovers that he concedes in areas that lead to transition against us is just not good enough. This is our captain. This is our captain. Harry Sheasel's numbers, again, very good, but that was just like the first few games where it's 32 of the most anonymous touches you'll see. 78% disposal efficiency, nowhere near what he usually does. Only 9 kicks, 23 handballs. The amount of handballs we had in this game, we're overusing the football. We just keep handballing, to each other to get the ball away from us. They look scared with the ball. So I think everyone had more handballs than kicks basically in the midfield. They did, all of them. Yep. 23 handballs to 9 kicks for Sheasel, 14 to 11 for LDU, 14 to 5 for Powell. Tristan Sherry had 2 kicks for the game, 12 handballs, 2 kicks. Tucker, 11 handballs, 4 kicks. Simpkin, 11 and 9. Not till you get to Parker. Do you get more kicks than handballs? And look, that's not, if you're making the right handballs, it doesn't matter, but they're not. And they're overusing the football because they're scared. They're under pressure all the time and no one's moving into the right places. Anyway, let's talk about one of the 2 shining lights on the day, George Wardlaw. George, we do not deserve you. We do not deserve to have your presence and your ability on our team. And thank you for being at our club. Please, please sign. Because he deserves, from one game where he was on a minutes restriction, more money than LDU got. George Wardlaw has the highest potential in this entire team. Okay? I said it. He is the most talented man on our list. His potential is A grade, A+ grade, Brownlow grade. I have not a single player on this team for the entire season has put in as much effort as he did in his limited minutes in his first game back from a hamstring injury. He was ferocious, diving on everything, second efforts. Yes, his disposal isn't fantastic, and that's going to lead to more problems with all of our midfield being basically shithouse at anything to do with kicking and handballing. But he follows it up and he wins it back. There was a couple of times at half back where he would, get tackled and lose the ball and then follow up again and dive on it. I loved watching him play on the weekend. Thank you so much, George Wardlaw, for being what you are, because we as a club do not deserve your talent on our list. A+ return from George Wardlaw. Fantastic stuff. let's have a look at his disposals. Where was he here? 21, 12 kicks, 9 handballs, only 1 tackle. But, I'm not going to roast him for his first game back. You would expect George to be doing more than that, though. 61% disposal efficiency, not good enough, but it's your first game back. His goal, so good. So good. Just saw the little pocket of space, stepped through 2 blues, nailed it, and we heard his whatever Beethoven, Mozart sort of thing he plays was actually really cool. Out of all the goal songs, that plays and it actually made me go, that's sick. It feels like a moment where all the other ones are just rubbish tracks that no one cares about. So great choice on the track, George. I actually think it came across in the stadium really, really well. But yeah, look, there's basically all of our midfield. Lackadaisical, pathetic, not good enough. Pull your heads in because the talent we've got in that midfield is great, but there's lack of disposal. The players are very, very similar. Clarkson, it's on you. It's on you to make some changes in that midfield. I would nearly be trying something different to Powell, to be honest. I think, maybe a week in the twos or something, maybe try him off half back and get Tucker out of there. I don't know, but something has to change. He's not adding anything to that midfield. LDU isn't either, but LDU's, when he's on, we know he can do it. I hope this makes sense as well because LDU was rubbish. I think Powell was better than LDU yesterday, but Powell consistently has been flat all year, except for the D's game when he was best on ground. Other than that, very, very flat, 5, 6 out of 10s across the board. LDU can spark up at any moment though, and that's why I don't think you can take him out. But do you send a message? I don't think so yet. Simpkins the same as Powell for me, but imagine how the roasting will cop in the media, which we already are, to be fair, so why not steer into the skid? But leading our best and fairest, I know me and Chief talked about this last week, and I made a comment that I thought was harsh at the time, but I got a bit emotional of that's the reason the club's bad. Kind of feel like I was right, to be honest. If he's leading our best and fairest, no wonder we are where we are. I love Jai. I think he's a great leader, and we know what he can do, but too many mistakes, to be honest with you. All right, let's talk about the forward line. Larky, he's been quiet the last 3 weeks, but the delivery into the forward 50 doesn't change. And this is one of the things that I want to question Clarkson on the most as well. As a fan base, how many years have we been saying, don't just bomb it to the top of the square? And that's all the players do. Every single time we bombed it in, he's no chance of a mark. How many goals did he kick? Was it 1 or 2? I can't remember. 1, which was from a free kick. I felt like the whole game, unless Paul Curtis was there, unless we got a free kick, no chance. No chance of scoring. So Larky, you're the vice captain this year. You need to start having a word to these midfielders and saying, I'm one of the best forwards in the game. Lead. One, Larky's not leading as well. I was sitting there and watching it. No forwards lead, by the way. So that's also on Larky and Darling. So that's not good enough. But we don't even look to try and find anybody. Dylan Stevens, who absolutely a scapegoat. I think he's been fine. I don't think he's the guy to blame for this. I know why we're blaming him, but I don't know if he's the guy to blame. There's much worse players in this game especially. But he would get the ball outside our 50 and instead of look for someone, just sort of take his time, and this is the whole team, by the way, let the defense get back and get set, and then he'd bomb it to the top of the square and it'd just fall to the ground and they'd run it out. Everybody did that, and I just don't understand it. Jack Darling didn't really do much in this game either. I think he had some of the lowest touches on the ground. 6 touches for the whole game, 50% disposal efficiency, no marks. Not a single mark for the whole game. It's hard to drop him. Who do you bring in? I know Finbar's there, but I just don't think he's going to improve anything. I'd probably maybe give Teagle a go, I guess. And coming onto that, Jerry, let's talk about him for a sec. Let's loop that conversation in together. He's flat. He's hurt. He hasn't been the same since he got that knock. And I just think we need to give him some time to get right. We're not beating the Power. I don't even know when the next winnable game is, to be fair. But he just does not look okay. He doesn't look himself. he won the hit-outs, but the clearance numbers, I mean, I felt like nothing went to our advantage. I love X, but he needs a spell, I think. He needs a spell, or he needs maybe to play forward. Maybe that can be another option. Maybe he can play forward like Goldie sort of used to and bring Teakle in and just rotate those two through the forward line. Try Goad. I don't care. But something needs to happen. Goad's probably not ready, to be fair. So you got to bring in Teakle and let Jerry have a little bit less in the ruck. You know, he's shown he can take a bit of a clunk every now and then. He's a decent kick at goal. Throw him forward a bit more, I think, until we get his body back to where it needs to be. Let's talk about Paul Curtis, the second positive from this game. He has elevated himself this season. He has taken another step. One of the best forwards in the game this year, one of the best smaller forwards in the game. 3 goals, 1. Just a fantastic play. Creates something out of nothing. Just a fantastic game with the rest of the team being so pathetic. So I love what PC has done this year. I don't know if we can I find the stats on goal kicking? Like he's winning. I guess there's games today. He's winning the Coleman still with 17 goals. Let's see where. And Paul Curtis has 15 for the year. So look, like he's still ticking away, I guess, this year. But Paul Curtis, just fantastic stuff from him. Love what he's bringing. Thank God we've signed him. Was it a 3-year deal or something? God, thank God we've signed him. He's been our best player consistently this year, I think. He's been our best player. So, Paul Curtis, I love you. None of this negativity is directed at you. Can you please teach some of your mates how to play football? Cam Zurhaar, similar game to last week, except when Zurhaar was around the ball the week before, he did something with it, and this week he absolutely did not. I don't think he laid a tackle for the game, did he? Or it was only a couple. Let's have a look here. Sorry, I'm trying to get the stats up as I'm going here because I'm darting around all over the place. I hope you guys understand. No tackles. That's right. So no tackles from him. Put on pressure, but gave away some silly frees. Kicked a goal, but it doesn't really mean much, to be honest. So, yeah, Zurhaar's sort of fallen back a little bit from his really hot start to the year. But what can the forwards do, to be honest? Constanti, I think he kicked a goal as well. He did. He kicked the last goal of the game, I believe. Constanti kicked a goal. Let's see how many tackles he laid. So 3 tackles, 4 touches. I like the pressure he puts on. I don't have the pressure act stats. So I don't know if they've got them up here, but no, they don't. I think his pressure acts hopefully are high. He is doing enough because we're a bad team. I think that is the best way to say it. Kicked a few goals this year. I like it. I don't think you drop him because there's really no one else to bring in. Geordie Payne is there, I guess, Rivers Stevens, but they're probably not going to be added. I think he's done enough just to be in this team. I think he's tackling, he's kicking a goal and a bit a week, you know. So you're just hanging on for me, Jacob. But what can the forward line really do when the entry is so bad and we just get no inside 50s? What were the inside 50 numbers? Yeah, so, oh my God. 39 inside 50s for an entire game of football. 10 a quarter. And 64 for Carlton. 39 to 64. Yeah, okay. Free kicks, 17 to 29. I mean, we're not going to go over that. Everyone who watched the game knows how bad the free kicks were. Look, we can start wrapping it up here, I think, because I don't know if I want to go on too much more about this rubbish team. But, who else in the forward line is there really to talk about? I guess we can talk. I mean, look, let's touch on, I think the only one we haven't touched on is Dersma. Came on a little bit early, really didn't do anything for the game. Ended up kicking a goal, but yeah, I'm not sure with Dersma. I know people are going to hate this, but geez, we should have drafted Nick Watson. It doesn't mean Dersma can't turn into a superstar one day. You know, his glimpses are there, but he got half a game of football, had 5 touches. So I don't know. He doesn't look interested all the time. Do you know what I mean? And I know body language isn't always the best indicator, but there's been questions asked about his commitment and stuff. And I think in a game, he just doesn't seem to be getting in the game. He found a way to impact it last week, kicked a goal when it he was over. I like how exciting he is, and I think I'd keep him in the team for a run, but I want to start seeing a bit more. Throw him into the guts. He's playing midfield a lot in the twos. Throw him in the guts. But he got half a game of football and touched the ball 5 times. So, yeah, nothing to write home about there. Sean Adley club champ votes this week. I'm going to give 3 to Curtis. I'm going to give 2 to Wardlaw, and I'm not going to give any more out, to be honest, because they do not deserve it. No one else, in my eyes, really deserves it. Look, there was some performances there that were okay, but I'm not going to keep rewarding mediocrity, to be honest. Parker wasn't bad. Sheezel's numbers were good, but lacked impact. I'm not having any of that. To be honest, I liked Zach Fisher's game until he did his hammy. You probably can't give him a vote off half a game. So, yeah, no one vote this week because they're not good enough, and I'm not rewarding mediocrity. The golden helmet moment of the game goes to George Wardlaw's goal. Probably the only highlight from the game, to be honest. Paul Curtis's whole performance and George Wardlaw's comeback as a whole, yes. But the moment of the game, George Wardlaw's goal, loved it, fired the crowd up, loved hearing it. But that was probably the last moment we had to celebrate in the stadium. So it is what it is. We might end it there, guys. I'm still so flat, and it's taken me a lot of effort to come here and do the pod this week. Shout out to Marnie for doing her video and all the other podcasts as well for just fronting up and doing this every single week, because it's so tough when you spend so much of your time talking about the football club around a full-time job, and you don't really get much financially or anything of that nature. And it's and I don't want to do it for money. That's never going to be the reason I'm going to do this podcast. But God, it's getting hard. And I'm going to do my best to be here every week, guys. But thank you for people messaging saying for me to take a week off. I think I definitely needed to. I would have loved to. But for the people who need the pod, it will be here. You might see me slowly decline. You might see me come back and I've shaved my head. But stay strong, North family. I'd love to give you some more positivity, but we're in a dark, dark hole. We deserve everything we get this week from the media. We deserve all the banter. We deserve the shame. And as a North Melbourne fan, I'm embarrassed this week. I'm absolutely embarrassed to follow this club. It doesn't mean I'm not sticking by them, and doesn't mean I'm not going to watch and podcast and try and be there, but it's okay to feel embarrassed, because I was embarrassed, walking out of the stadium and having the North gear on and just wanted to crawl into a hole, to be honest. So anyway, good luck out there. Please lean into your hobbies. Find another sport. The NBA playoffs are just starting. If you're not an NBA fan, get on the Celtics. I'm a big Celtics fan. Trying to get into baseball at the moment, which my girlfriend hates because I follow too many sports. The F1, there's other things on right now, guys. So get around other things, be with your family, do some hobbies, music, find a hobby. Just remove yourself from North Melbourne for a little bit, because they don't deserve your undying love and support. They need to show us why we pay memberships. They need to show us why we buy the tickets. They need to show us why we should buy merch. They need to show us why we turn up. It's gone beyond us turning up to support them now. This is just my opinion. I know other people won't agree with this, and that's okay. And I respect those opinions too, but don't really feel like going at the moment, to be honest. And I don't think they deserve us to turn up until they show why. So let's leave it at that. Might be a slightly quieter week on the content front, because I think I need a bit of a break, but the pod will still be here. But I'm just going to chill out for a little bit. Subscribe if you're on YouTube. 5-star reviews for Spotify and Apple help me so much. Like the video. Leave your thoughts down below. And let me know what type of fan you are as well. Are you the undying, I will always love the club and I always turn up and think we're going to win every week? Or you're like me, where I need to be shown that you're going to improve now, because I don't believe that it's going to happen until you show me. And I think that's completely fair. So let me know. Welfare checks and all the North fans out there. I'll chat to you guys soon. See ya.